And before these guys, there were these guys.
Most awesome power on Earth.
You don't understand. Soon I shall rule the world.
It will take all their combined skills to defeat him.
Hello and welcome to another episode of It Could Have Been a Classic. And this week, we're going to be covering 1986's Eliminators. And my God, this is going to be a right one. So see you soon and roll the intro.
In a hidden fortress concealed by impenetrable jungle dwells Dr. Abbott Reeves, a brilliant but devious scientist with the power to create.
Help the mandroid from the cage, Takala.
Any malfunctions?
I had some trouble with this. Feels like a delay in the neurosynapse trigger.
And the will to destroy.
Move its memory, then dismantle it.
It's half human.
He must be eliminated. Colonel Nora Hunter has the brains to mastermind the operation.
We need a full-time mechanic, my friend.
Fontana, the river rat.
What are you doing?
I saw this in a movie once.
When he finds himself in a tight spot, someone else has to pick up the pieces. Couldve, a ninja. He has the martial skills to destroy his enemies. The Mandroid. More machine than man. His special powers will determine whether or not they survive.
We got robots, we got cavemen, we got kung fu. What is this anyway? Some kind of damn comic book?
It is the most perilous journey any one of them has undertaken. And once they reach their destination, they face the most awesome power on Earth.
You don't understand. Soon I shall rule the world.
It will take all their combined skills to defeat him. Is the ultimate specialist in his field. Together, they are the Eliminators.
Well, hello. And so we've got a fun-filled episode of action-packedness and Denise Crosby in a wet T-shirt. I mean, could you ask for any more? I mean, you've just got to love the 1980s. I mean, the best years ever. And the cheesy characters. We've got it all in this. This was made by director Peter McGowan. I've tried looking into his career. There doesn't seem to be much there. The interesting thing, this film comes from Empire Films, which is now bankrupt. But they were the creators of RoboJocks and Reanimator. So this is sort of like comes from that. Now, the interesting question, is it in the same universe? It would be interesting if all this wouldn't it be great if you got the cheesy verse and you put all this together? So, I mean, this is an awesome film. I remember renting this in the 1980s. Unfortunately, there was a poster. This poster was absolutely amazing. And I remember seeing poster and release date, the Eliminators, and my teeth were slavering. I thought, I'm renting that. Could never get hold of it at a video library. And the poster, my God, trust me, this wasn't the poster. So as you can see with the poster, it was quite interesting. It offered this big scope movie. I suppose the 1980s Avengers. Now there is some interesting characters, and I'm going to go over them in a minute. But let's go into the film first. This film has everything: time travel, gay cavemen. I'm not making it up, Sarah. There's a scene in this with gay cavemen. I couldn't stop laughing. Cyborgs, flying robots, sexy scientists, the bounty hunter. I mean, it's got it all. I mean, this film, they got the biscuit tin and banged it around, and this is what you got. And I even like the villain, Abbott Reeves, you know. But at first, shall we go into the story? I mean, there ain't much to really talk about the film. I mean, it's a cheap production. It's nasty. But, you know, this film, you have this love for it. So let's take a look at the characters and the plot. And I'll tell you, you're going to love this.
Colonel Nora Hunter has the brains to mastermind the operation. Montana, the river rat.
What are you doing?
I saw this in a movie once.
When he finds himself in a tight spot, someone else has to pick up the pieces. Couldve, the ninja. He has the martial skills to destroy his enemies. The Mandroid. More machine than man. His special powers will determine whether or not they survive.
So the plot of the movie is quite interesting. You've got the secret lair in the Amazon jungle in Mexico with the mad scientist who's got this plot. He's built a time machine and he's going to go back to Rome and he's going to conquer the Roman Empire and become a god. In his experiments, he creates the Manborg or cyborg, whatever he is, right? Now, I did think they ripped it off from Next Gen, you know, with Borg, but this was before Next Gen. So this was before. So it does make you wonder, did they get the Borg from this? So we've got Fontana, the ninja, and the sexy scientist. I mean, Denise Crosby's amazing in this. I really do like her character. She's a very strong female character in this. She won't put up with any shit. And she's a genius. And it ends up that the mad scientist nicked her ideas for the cyborg parts. So Manborg escapes because he keeps having memory flashbacks of a plane crash and his family and all this. And somehow he gets to Los Angeles rather quick, dressed like that, across the American border. I'm not even going to go there. He just turns up in her lab, right? And she's amazed by him, and he tells Abbott Reeves, the world thinks this genius is dead, Abbott Reeves. But he gets help by this other scientist. This is the ninja's father, and he gets killed. And because he wants to dismantle him, just the mad scientist. He keeps sending him back in time for stuff. And that's basically the story. They end up going to Mexico to find out, to get Manborg's memories back and to stop the plot. And it all comes up. They meet Fontana, he's like the cheeky chappy, and he's got no money, but he's very clever and he's a survivor and he's good with a gun. You know, you're getting that 80s stereotype. Now there is another character which you see. This is the cutie factor. You've got Spot, right? This miniature flying robot that can fly at the speed of light. Don't ask. Right, I've written it down. Here it is. Right, here it is. Search, patrol, operational tactician. I mean, for fuck's sake, but you love it. It's like my brother had one as a kid. You know, I remember in the 80s, I was a teen now, about 18, 19, 20. My brother were into robots, and he had one of them robots. I forgot Remco or something, one of them robots. It looks like one of them. Do you know what I mean? And it makes cute electric noises. And it has a sense of humor. And they send it off in forest and it maps it out and finds stuff. So they meet Fontana, they get into the jungle, and they get oh yeah, there's a bar fight because they're all after her, after job, because she offers a load of money to take them up river to, you know, Abbott Reeves' secret location. And he's got a couple of rednecks that work for him in a super jet powered boat called Couldve. right? And these two are just like comedy value, like the henchmen. I mean, it really does have it all. This movie and the music, the music, it kicks in wonderfully, and it is so cheesy and bad, but this film is so likable. Anyway, Man Boggs, he's always feeling sorry for himself, and he throws himself in river, and they think they've lost him after they've been attacked, and they get caught, and they end up in the compound. And meanwhile, Man Bogg and Spot, right, tactician, whatever robot, it flies around everywhere. He bumps into Ninja in jungle, and Ninja's not bothered about him. He said, I've been watching you for a couple of days. And they team up. He said, I knew your father, but he killed him. Because the Ninja's not heard from the Japanese scientist. So they get together, and they get with the other two. It's like they all sort of get caught. And meanwhile, in the secret lair, Abbott Reeves, right, I think it's Roy DeTreece, the actor. There is some quite good acting talents in this. There really is. So, like, he's turning himself into this cyborg, right? And he's really powerful. He's got like gravity beams and laser beams and force fields. And I mean, this is where you really get into science fiction. And he's going to go back, conquer Rome, and become the new emperor and become a god. Anyway, the team, like the Eliminators, they never once referred to as being the Eliminators in this film. There's a big battle in the compound. They get rid of henchmen, ninjas at it. Man Bogg, he sacrifices himself. And he jumps in time machine, does Abbott Reeves. He goes back to Roman Empire. He's just about to stop because she's like on his level as a scientist. She gets in. She understands all technology. She sort of messes about with computer, and they send him back to Cretaceous period, way before, like 100 million years. And he ends up like, it's hilarious because his time machine goes back millions, hundreds of millions of years, and it just collapses. And he gets out, and he hasn't figured it out, and he just starts screaming. And that's it. They stop him from changing history. So now the question, we're coming to the question, is this film a classic? And we're going to go there shortly. But just a bit more, this film has everything for me. I mean, it is bad. It is bad, but I bought this on Blu-ray a week ago because I've not seen this in 20 years, right? It must be, I used to rent this when this got reduced to 50p. Every now and again, me and my mates, I was like 28, we used to rent this out because it was just pure entertainment. It was brilliant. I mean, the humor, all of it. I think if they did a big budget version of this, I think it'd work. I really do. So now we're going to go to the question, could this have been a classic? So now that we've covered sort of like the basic plot line of the film, now, like I'm asking the question, does this film have anything for any potential? Oh, God, it has a loaded, this film. When I watched this, 20, 30 years later, I just thought this was a true gem of absolute shiteness. You want quality over shit. This is quality badness, and I love this movie. Now, it did get a small limited theatre release at some flea pit cinemas, and I would have loved to have seen this at the cinema. I'd have been hammered at the time. Now, I love the characters in this. You've got Andrew Prine, Denise Crosby, Roy DeTreece. I mean, you've got some real sort of decent actors in this. And there's a couple of others you've probably seen on TV over the years. But this is a great film. And the mad scientists, I've always had a thing about secret lairs, mad scientists, and the world conquering device. I mean, it's got all the plot lines in this, and I don't know if they made this up as they were going along, but if you made a big budget version of this today and really put the money into it, I think this could go somewhere. I could have seen this as a cheesy TV series in the 90s. Because there's something in this film that works. Now, where it falls a bit short for me, they don't mention being called the Eliminators, and I found that quite annoying because they're like 4 to 5 people and this cheesy robot, they're all put together. You get like, well, they do try to go into sort of like the Mandroid story, and you're not really interested in that because I mean, it does get a bit like he's in the airplane thinking of his family, and Abbott Reeves gets older and turns him into a cyborg. I mean, it is. I mean, the guy that plays it, he's all right as an actor, I suppose. I mean, there ain't much scope. I think today they put a lot of depth into his character. They do try though, but they've got a limited budget now. Now, Mandroid's Mantac track tank thing. A friend of mine said, how does he sit in it? And I thought he just stood in it. He takes his legs off. I didn't realise this. But obviously, one of the best characters is Fontana. He's like, well, he's not the leader, it's the scientist. Denise Crosby is basically the leader. Because she's so intelligent that I really don't like her character. She seems to lead. And Fontana, obviously, there's an attraction between her because he's like the complete opposite to her. And you can see they're going to get it off at the end, which fair enough. But altogether, the villains are great in this film. The henchmen are just what you expect, idiots. You've got the lair, the time travel MacGuffin. You've got all like laser beams, force fields, gay cavemen. There is a scene in this that's hilarious. And obviously they shoved in the wet t-shirt shot of Denise Crosby. I mean, there's even a poster where she's I like that. But good on Denise Crosby. I think she's a fine actress. I really do. And I bet they had a bloody good time making this. I mean, if I worked on this, I would have a good time on this film. It just looks a lot of fun. Look, forget the budget. Just switch off to that. Enjoy this film for what it is. Now, could it have been a classic? Now, it does. It has inspired a couple of movies, apparently. So, what's interesting about this film, that Manborg, I mean, good God, I don't know if I'm going to cover that. That is terrible, but this inspired it. But they've done a few parodies of this film, so it does have a love for this movie is out there. And I've watched a few reviews, and everybody's very positive about it. For me, maybe it's my generation. This film, when I saw this in the 80s, all right, it wasn't the poster. The poster is amazing. I'd have that on the wall today for the poster. I would. But, even though it's not the hype of that poster, this is not a bad film. And I'm going to say it, I'm going to give it the title. It could have been a classic, and it is. It's got a cult following. Well done, Eliminators. You've got through this week. There's no toilet sound effect this week. Honestly, give this film a try. Get a pizza, get a couple of cans, spark up a bifter, sit back, and just enjoy this for what it is. So this is my sort of... It could have been a classic. There is a classic line.
We got robots. We got cavemen. We got kung fu. What is this anyway? Some kind of damn comic book?